What's good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from my channel, but this topic has literally changed my life so much in the past year that I had to talk about it, especially when it comes to me just being more in tune with my inner world and really for me to be able to manifest into the physical world the things that I want with my inner power, and that is using cycle syncing. If you guys have never heard of cycle syncing, it is basically a method that we as women can use to tap into our inner femininity, our inner seasons, in order to be more aligned in our external world, with our social schedules, with our productivity, with even our exercise, right? Our body is very different from week to week throughout the month. Our menstrual cycle as women is literally like our inner map, but our society is not built to really support that. In all honesty, our society is built around men. It's built around this idea that we should all be showing up consistently with the same energy every single day throughout the month, when in reality, our hormones are changing with our menstrual cycle. So we as women are not able to operate the same way throughout the month. And again, unfortunately, because our society is built around men, it causes a lot of disruption in our system. There's a lot of women who are suffering from severe PMS, crazy issues with their periods. There's all these things. So by tapping into, again, your natural rhythm, by learning what your body needs at different times in your cycle, you're able to, again, just be more aligned with your inner world so that you can then interact with the outside world in a more harmonious way. So I'm really just gonna be sharing my experience in this video. Obviously, I am not a doctor, as y'all know, just a little disclaimer. Like, I'm not gonna get too deep into the nitty gritty here. I just really wanna share with you guys what my personal experience has been like with cycle syncing and how I kind of approach this whole thing. But I will be sure to leave some resources and some readings and stuff in the description box down below if you guys wanna do your own research. And obviously do keep in mind that, you know, just because something works for me, it doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. Everyone's body is different. And yeah, that's just important to know. So the first thing I'm gonna say before we get into the actual cycles, I think it's really important to mention that if you are on birth control, your body is not operating in this exact same way. Birth control is giving your body synthetic hormones. So while you are maybe seeing that you're bleeding every month, if you're like you're on the pill and you're like taking the sugar pill or whatever, that's not a real period. So because you're not having a real period, your body is not, again, it's not operating in the same way. So you can definitely still benefit from cycle syncing, but it's just not going to be the same. And I just think it's really important that I kind of put that out there first. And I'm not gonna make this video about why you should quit birth control or anything like that, but I will say I quit birth control about a year ago. And for me, that's been a huge step in really healing my body. Kind of just was being used as a band-aid to kind of mask a lot of the issues that I was already having. And then personally, I really wanted to be able to tap into, again, just my natural rhythm, like my body's just natural hormones. And then the way that I track my cycle is I use the Flow app. It's pretty accurate, but I will say also, again, since I've quit birth control, I've really just been paying more attention to like my hormones and my body throughout the past year. I've definitely noticed that I kind of just now know where I'm at in each phase of my cycle. Like I know when I'm ovulating versus when I'm in my luteal phase, just because I'm a lot more self-aware about where my body's at, how I'm feeling. So I feel like the longer you kind of start doing this, the more easy it is to really know where you're at in your cycle. Okay, so now moving into each phase of your cycle. The first one I'm gonna cover is your follicular phase. This phase lasts for about 7 to 10 days, and this is right after your period. So this is what we would consider like your inner spring. This is the time for new beginnings. Your energy is starting to rise up again. You're kind of feeling more in the mood for a fresh start, setting new intentions, new beginning. Really what's happening within your body is, again, your period has just ended. Your hormones are a little bit quiet. Your estrogen is starting to rise. So your body during this phase is really just supporting you, again, just think about like an inner spring, starting new projects, starting new things, writing out intentions, writing out goals. So for me with my content, for example, this is when I'll do a lot of my content planning. This is maybe when I want to learn new things, really just experiment with new things, right? I'm actually in my follicular phase right now, and I'm sitting here recording a video that I don't normally do on my channel. So then when you're also thinking about like socializing, you're being more supported to go and do something new, being more adventurous, maybe trying a new restaurant, maybe going camping, doing an activity with someone that you've never done before. Again, because my energy is rising and my period has just ended, I'm more likely to start saying yes to plans again, kind of going out a little bit more. And of course, because your hormones are changing, it's a really good idea to also look at your diet so that you are supporting your hormones at different times of the month with the food that you're eating. So I'm not like super strict about this. I just like to keep a list in my notes app so that whenever I'm grocery shopping or meal planning or like meal prepping, I'm aware of what foods are just gonna support my body a little bit more. And I will say I've been doing better about this in the past few months, and I've noticed a huge difference in the way that I feel, especially when I'm on my period. So when it comes to your follicular phase, some foods that you can eat to support your hormones are things like probiotic rich fermented foods. So things like kombucha, kimchi, sauerkraut. I'm always drinking kombucha, as y'all know, so I just drink a little bit more. Also, I will say this is a really good time to be eating foods that support estrogen development, because again, your estrogen is rising during this time. So foods like lean proteins, tofu and tempeh. I will leave a list of different foods that's really good during this time. And then you can also be thinking about your working out routine. Because again, we as women are not like men. We do not perform our best by doing the same thing throughout the entire month. Like, I've heard a lot about women, as I've done research on this topic, who actually have ended up losing more weight by resting more during certain periods of their cycle than they have when they were exercising every single day. So again, it's just really important to keep in mind that your body is the guide. So during your follicular phase, your body is supporting you kind of trying new things, but also just kind of getting back into your groove after that rest period of your menstruation. So that's your follicular phase. After you're done with your follicular phase, you then go into your ovulation phase. And this is like your inner summer. This is the time when you have the most energy, you're the most glowy, you're actually your hottest during your ovulation phase, because this is really the time period where your body is preparing for you, or it's trying to get you to have a baby. So your estrogen is rising. You might notice that you're a little bit more curvy during this time. Your face is a little bit more symmetrical. Like, you literally, your body will physically change so that you can attract more partners, which I just think is so crazy. And also during this time, you're also gonna have a sharp increase, but also a rapid decline in testosterone. Ovulation time is the time when your libido is the highest. I just think it's the best time of the month to just be a little bit more extroverted, take advantage of that outward energy that your body is naturally possessing. Also taking advantage of that in your work. For me, with my content, this is a time when I'm more likely to go and do my makeup and take more pictures. I actually like to try to batch content during this period, because again, my energy is a little bit higher. I just feel a little bit hotter, so I might as well get in front of the camera as much as I can. You may find your body during this time is maybe craving more like raw, cold foods, so like a lot of fresh fruit. I will have a lot of smoothies during this time period. I'm more likely to eat like sushi. Again, just thinking about an inner summer, what would you eat during the summer? More likely to eat more salad, just something more light. You're also supporting your metabolism by eating in this way during this time period. And then when it comes to working out, your body again just has more energy. So this is around the time of the month where I will be doing more high impact workouts. Y'all know my preferred method of working out is lifting. So I'm just more likely to be doing a lot more lifting. I don't know, I just feel more excited to go to the gym. So I'm just in there a lot more when I'm ovulating. Your body will be supporting you again, just kind of getting that energy out. And then moving on into luteal phase. This usually lasts for about 10 to 14 days. It's right before your period. And this is considered like your inner autumn. Your progesterone is starting to rise. Your estrogen is also still rising. So the first half of your luteal phase, you may have a little bit more energy. You may still be likely to want to go and do things. And then eventually, right before your period, your estrogen and your progesterone start to fall. So this is the time where you're more likely to experience PMS. You're likely to become a little bit more irritable. Your energy will start to drop a little bit. You maybe will want to start saying no to plans a little bit, taking more time to yourself, establishing more boundaries with your friends and family. But it's also just really important to note that like PMS is common during this time, but it's not always necessary. If your hormones are out of whack, you're more likely to experience those symptoms. You know, a lot of us say like as women, like the week leading up to our period is usually like the worst week of the month. Like it usually sucks. I definitely have months where that still happens, but I just noticed that when I'm paying a little bit more attention to and catering to my body, the week leading up to my period is a lot smoother. So if you're overbooking yourself during the second half of your luteal phase, you may end up not feeling like yourself as much during interactions. So if I am gonna hang out with people during the second half of my luteal phase, then I usually will hang out with people like more one-on-one, like maybe go to the movies, like just something a little bit more cozy and intimate. And thinking about mentally, you're kind of more likely to be paying more attention to details, to be more focused on specific tasks. So when you're thinking about work, this is a really good time to kind of start wrapping up projects, just doing more like detail-oriented tasks, because again, your body is just kind of slowing down. It's less about execution and quick action, and it's more about slow-paced focused attention. So for me, creatively, I might be wrapping up a project during this time. I might be doing a lot more editing, right? Because if I did batch more content during my ovulation period, it's a good time to maybe go and edit and maybe kind of put things together. Again, just paying more attention to details during this period may help you kind of get into a better flow. And then thinking about food during your luteal phase. So again, your body's slowing down. You may notice that you're starting to get more hungry during your luteal phase. Your body's starting to crave a little bit more calories, more carbs. So rich, slow burning carbs, also foods that are rich in vitamin D, also magnesium are really good during this time because again, your body is changing, it's preparing for that period. You want to be eating foods that are going to kind of calm that and relax that as your hormones are starting to change. And then thinking about working out. First half of my luteal phase, I still have some energy. I still will find myself lifting. And I usually find that during the first half of my luteal phase is when I start doing a lot more heavy lifts because again, my energy is starting to slow down. So I usually will do slower lifting sessions, like less reps, less sets, but going heavier. And then usually like the second half of my luteal phase is when I will start kind of slowing down, giving myself a little bit more rest days, doing things like Pilates. Yoga is really good during this time. Also just like mobility exercises. Because again, your body and your mind is doing better about paying attention to detail during your luteal phase. So just thinking about those more intentional, slow workouts. And I just find that again, that just kind of comes naturally. I'm getting more tired. I'm less likely to want to go to the gym every single day. So just really paying attention to what your body needs and starting to give yourself more grace is the key here. Again, especially those few days leading up into your period. And then the last part of the cycle is obviously your period. This usually lasts about 3 to 7 days. Obviously, this is the time where your body is releasing the egg. And so your body really truly is releasing energy from your previous cycle. So energy from different people, from different circumstances, things that maybe triggered us throughout the month. Our womb carries again so much wisdom, so much information, so much energy. So whatever things you've been going through, your womb is physically releasing that. It's physically cleansing itself. So thinking about that, you also want to consider the fact that your period is a very beautiful time for you to really go inward. It's really that time for that self-reflection. It's time to slow down. It's time to rest. You don't have as much energy for a reason. Your body is asking you to honor that time. And also it's funny because what's happening in your brain during your period is the left and right hemispheres of your brain are communicating at their best. So this is really the time for you to really take a look at yourself. Again, go inward, do that inner work, look at what you maybe want to physically release from your life in your external world. What people, what energies, what new leaves are you now turning in this once this new cycle starts afresh? Because again, your brain is doing a lot better at analyzing these things, thinking more clearly, but not necessarily taking action on them. Usually during our period, we're a lot more emotional, we're a lot more sensitive, and that's for a reason. It's so that we can listen to our bodies and really take a look at what it is that our body is trying to tell us. This is a time for more solitude, more inner work by yourself before you go run off and tell everyone how you're feeling and what you're planning to do. Do some journaling, do some shadow work, maybe talk to a therapist, hang out with friends, hang out with family if you feel called to, who make you feel comfortable. But also just keep in mind that again, you're just more sensitive during this time. So I do like to keep that in mind when I'm making plans with people. Actually saw Hitomi talking about this in her video on how she works with her period. I'll leave a link to that down below because it's a really, really good video. I will still obviously get work done. It's kind of impossible for us to put our entire lives on pause when we're on our period, but it's important to also give yourself that grace, give yourself that kindness, have that awareness that again, your body is going through this transformation right now. So if you do have a really busy work week, maybe slotting in more time for self-care instead of putting in time for making plans with other people that week. Again, because your energy is a little bit lower, it's also a really good time to kind of slow down with the workouts. Your body will actually react a lot better if you give yourself more rest, give yourself more naps during this period. Obviously, it's always good to move your body in some way, especially if you're suffering from cramps. So I will usually maybe go on walks more, do some yoga. I also still will lift during my period, but I'll just do it less. So I'll have more rest days in between the gym. And then when you're thinking about foods during your period, your body needs a lot of hydration when you're bleeding. So it's important to be drinking a lot of water. But then you also want to be making sure that you're eating foods that again are going to be supporting your body's inner winter. So again, warmer foods, heavier, denser foods, because your body just needs more of that energy to get through this period. So I will have a lot more protein. I will have a lot of salmon and fish during this time. Healthy fats, so like avocados, eggs. Also, it's really good to have things like dark chocolate. Foods rich in iron are really, really good. Leafy greens are really good while you're on your period. Again, literally think about your body during these different phases of your cycle in terms of seasons. So whenever you feel lost of like, okay, what does my body need right now? Thinking about, again, your body in terms of these inner seasons is a really, really good way to kind of have that inner roadmap whenever you're thinking about cycle syncing. And obviously we cannot bend our entire schedule to accommodate to our cycles all the time. Like, it's just not possible. But I think the key to really being in flow with our body and again, our external world is that awareness. Having awareness of where you are in your cycle allows you to grant yourself grace and kindness during different phases depending on what you need. We have so much wisdom and intelligence within us. And again, when you're becoming more in tune with your cycle, you're able to utilize that power in a really effective way. So instead of seeing your period as like this handicap or like this disability, you will start noticing as you become more in tune with your cycle and again, growing that self-awareness, that your body actually has basically like these hidden superpowers depending on what time of the month that you're in. It's really how we can heal our relationship with ourselves, but then again, also manifest what we want physically in the outside world. It's really a long journey, I think, for a lot of us of unlearning conditioning that's been placed on us to make us think that we have to perform a certain way every single day of the month. It's just not realistic. It's not who we are. It's not how our bodies were built. Again, unfortunately, although this system is built around a certain way of thinking, that does not mean that we have to subscribe to that. Really listen to your body, listen to what your body needs, and watch how much your outside world is going to change to align with that alignment that you have with your inner self. Like, it's actually so crazy. Again, I'm still very much on this journey of trying to figure that out. It's just crazy to me again that we have not been taught this. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful in some way. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have ever heard of cycle syncing. Do you guys use cycle syncing in your daily life? Are you interested in learning more about it? I definitely want to continue doing some research and maybe talking about it more on my channel, as I, again, still am on my journey of healing my hormones, figuring out my skin. I think I have PCOS. I have a lot of issues, and I think a lot of us women do, which is so crazy. So definitely let me know your stories in the comments down below. Let's chat and learn from each other. And yeah, hopefully this video, again, was helpful in some way. I love you guys. I hope you guys are having an amazing week, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.